Hi, it's Lipstick Gal. Thanks so much for watching today. Let's talk about March favorites and fails. Instead of doing favorites first and then fails at the end, I thought I'd just kind of mix everything up. I'm going to start with probably my largest purchase of the month, and it was from Givenchy. I ended up picking up their new concealer, and this was kind of what started it all. This is the Prisma Libre Skin Caring Concealer. I got the second lightest shade. I got the shade N95. It's a neutral shade, but I was worried that maybe the lightest shade would be just a little bit too light. And you know what's funny? I feel like this shade here, although it is an okay match, it doesn't really match as well as I had hoped with the foundation. So I picked up the foundation. Now this isn't new. This has been around for at least a year, maybe a little bit more, but they're both the same shade, shade N95. And I think that when you see them, do you see how the concealer is a little bit darker and the foundation is a little bit lighter? I'm used to foundation being a little, I mean, if anything, and they're the same color, a little bit darker and a little bit more light in the concealer. But do you see how there's a definite difference? The one thing I do like about both of these, very nourishing on the skin. They're so beautiful. They are really skin-like. I feel like between the two of these, I'm a little bit more impressed with the foundation. This is one of those that, I mean, hardly looks like foundation on the skin. It gives a little bit of redness reduction, a little bit of overall like kind of filtering of the face, but it's glowy and it's so pretty. I feel like the concealer gives more coverage, of course, because she's a concealer, so there's a little bit more pigment in here, but I feel like together they give a really good look. It's what I'm wearing today. I did set it with this. This is the Prisma Libre powder, and this is the one in Mousseline Pastel. It comes out in 3 different shades. It all mixes together. I have been using a brush to apply this or a little teeny tiny puff. There is a puff that comes with this, but I like having room for it to kind of move around and mix, because if I have the puff on there, tip it over, tip it back, I'll have purple, green, blue, and what is the other one? Pink, or I forget what the other color is. Anyway, but there'll be like 4 distinct colors. I kind of want them to mix together, and then I swirl my brush in and apply it where I want it. Today I'm only wearing powder under the eyes, right here on the nose, chin, and across my expression lines in my forehead. I don't have any here, but the foundation looks really pretty and skin-like. So I feel like this is really what surprised me, even though it's not new. This is what pulled me in because it was a new release in March, and I was really curious to try another luxury product. I feel like this is good on those days when you don't want to wear like a full complete glam look. You want to wear just coverage where you need it. I'll put this around the corners of my nose for redness, on my chin for some post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation from acne, underneath the eyes, and maybe on a few sunspots, and it kind of brings everything down. It does look really pretty on the skin, but you do want to keep in mind this is medium coverage and this is light coverage. So if you're looking for something that has a little bit more, I don't find that this Skin Caring Glow Foundation actually builds. You can get a little bit more coverage when you build this up, but I feel like I wish they were the same shade or even slightly lighter. That's kind of throwing me off. I feel like out of these 3 products, these were the 2 that I like the best. So in February, I made a purchase. It was kind of arrived towards the end of the month. What initially made me make the purchase are these Redimension Hydro Powder blushes. I love these. This one here is called Maiden's Blush, and this one here is Pomegranate Fizz. They're stunning. The reason that I like these is because they're softly, even though here they look like they're really quite pigmented, but do you see the subtle shine they have? I find that on days when I want just a little bit of glow, but I don't want like highlight glow, I can use one of these on my cheeks, and this will be the only cheek product I use. And I'm really impressed at the subtle skin-like quality without it being too glowy. I feel like the name of it being that multi-dimension hydro powder, I mean, it does, it brings dimension, it brings light. And they're really beautiful, and they don't make my skin look dry. That's the last thing I'm looking for, especially as I get a little bit older. I don't want to call too much attention to fine lines I have here. I don't feel like these powders do, and they also don't settle and look dry on my skin, because sometimes the wrong formula of powder can add years to my skin, sometimes a decade or more, depending on how heavy it sits. These don't sit heavy, and they're really quite lovely. Another one of my favorite aspects, guess what? They're refillable. Love that. So love these from RMS. Another one that I really enjoyed this month are these guys right here. These are the eye lights. I bought 3. I only have 2 because my 15-year-old grabbed one and I haven't seen it since. Went really good with her blue eyes. So I have these 2. I've been using strobe a lot, and flare is really pretty. The other thing that I really like about this formula is that once it's dry, you don't get any fallout. I don't get any creasing. And this is what the shades look like. Look how pretty they are. These are what I've been using for a one and done eye. I've been kind of really sitting in the lazy girl corner very happily with my one eyeshadow. If I'm going for something warm, I'll use flare. If I want something cool, I'll use strobe. I really have been liking these. And I like that they're using these aluminum tubes because for sustainability purposes, I think that's great with this product right here. Where I don't like it, and I feel like it's such a loss, is with the lip lights. This was a new launch in February, and I picked up this shade in Rhapsody, and this came in a set. This is a shade called Babette. I love the formula of the product that's on the inside of these. I hate this packaging for this product. This is Babette and this is Rhapsody. I like how shiny they are. I like that they have an opacity to them. I like how comfortable they are on the lips. I find them to be hydrating, and I really love that you can either thin them out or leave them like really thick. If you want more color, you can leave it like this and it wears beautifully. If you want less color, it wears beautifully thinned out. Now, the reason I don't like this aluminum tube packaging for this is I don't know a single person who puts on a lip product at the beginning of the day, especially a gloss, and doesn't take it with them. Because if this is the color you're wearing for the day, this is not a long wear product where you can put it on and it's gonna be bulletproof till you come home at the end of the day. Even those lip products I take with me in case I need to touch up, but I'm worried because this is metal packaging. I'm old enough to remember when toothpaste came in metal packaging like this, and my parents would lose their mind if my brother and I started squeezing from the middle of the tube or were playing with it because it would get a crack and product would start coming out here. My mom hated that. Now, the good thing is you can get one of these RMS turnkeys. They send them to you with each eye lights, but you have to purchase them for $5 if you buy lip lights. Okay, fine. These are $26 a piece. So I'm holding more than $50 worth of lip product here in my hand. But the part that is a bummer to me is that I cannot put these in my purse without worrying that the packaging is going to fail. So I was sure that it was going to be the tube packaging that was going to fail me. Guess what happened? I fixed it, but it was the cap. I actually had to glue mine back together. Because as I was screwing this on, what I didn't know is I couldn't screw it all the way down until it stopped twisting, because that was causing the metal end of the tube to poke through the top of the cap. And that top of the cap came all the way, like almost completely off. It was hanging on by a little bit. So I cleaned it, I wiped it down, I took some like a toothbrush and some soap to get every little bit of this lip lights out of like the center of the cap. And then I super glued it back together. And I did that hoping that would be just like a Band-Aid until a new cap came, because I reached out to RMS. I sent an email to customer support asking if, because you know, they're $26 each. I'd had it for less than a month and the cap had broken. I hope that they would send me a new one. I have not heard anything from them. Now, maybe my email got lost in the internet ether somewhere and it's out there just like never to be seen or heard from again. I've checked all of my like trash, my spam, I've checked everything. I haven't heard back, but it was really disappointing to pay $26 for something. Within the first 2 weeks, the lid broke. And this is one of those products where I really like what's inside. I think it's really pretty. And I like the colors they have. I just don't know that this sort of packaging can be the sort that you could throw in your purse, that you could put in your pocket, that you could take with you anywhere. I feel like this has potential to blow up and be a disaster. And the last thing you want is something that's balmy and something that's tinted and has moisturizing oils all over the inside of your pocket or your handbag. So these get as 1 out of 10 for packaging, but the product inside is beautiful. So I don't really recommend these. I feel like this packaging works better for this because I don't want to reapply eyeshadow later. It sits here on my vanity or in a makeup bag and it's fine. These you will want to touch up unless you only use it at home. I don't know anybody who does that, but that's why these are kind of like a fail, and these are one of the worst things I tried this month. A couple of other high-end products I tried recently. This is from Danessa Myricks. This is the Vision Flush highlighter, and it's a liquid highlighter. Look how pretty it is. This is the shade, I think this is Tiara. Yes, okay. This is, I think, the lightest shade that Danessa makes. It's so pretty. It's so glorious. I mean, and my favorite thing about this is that it's described as highlight without glitter. And yes, that's exactly, I want the shine. I want all of that. It's what I'm wearing here. Here's where I tell you, I put my makeup on about 4 hours ago. Went about my day, and before I sat down to record this, guess what? All of my glow was gone. I had to reapply, which is fine because it reapplies beautifully. It's super hydrating, it's super glowy. I feel like it has skincare properties where it makes my skin kind of more hydrated, and it blends beautifully into whatever other cream products I have on or liquid products I have on. But I wish it would kind of hang tight on the surface of my skin. I feel like once it kind of absorbs, and maybe it's just me or maybe it's this shade, I really feel, I've been wearing it for over a month now, and I find that halfway through the day it's gone. It's such a pretty formula. I really, really like it. It's moisturizing, feels good on the skin. I just don't find that it hangs on for more than 4 or 5 hours before it's like, wait, where did it go? But I do love that it is glowy without having any sparkle. This is one that's kind of new to my collection. This is one of the Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lip Plumps. I'm wearing this today. This is the shade Peachy Beige. Okay, super pretty. And I do have it mixed with something else because this is not the exact shade that I'm wearing, but it's such a pretty nude. So if you have liked these Maracuja Juicy Lips, this one's great. This is the plumping formula. I had not tried the plumping formula, just the original one. I know they have kind of like a new, I think one that's less sheer and glossy and more lipstick-like, but I really like this. These are kind of expensive though. They're in the, what, $21, $22 range. But I think that if you like a glossy, easy lip, and that's kind of what I've been gravitating towards this entire month, this is actually a really great line. And they have some really pretty wearable colors. All right, let's talk some Beauty Pie. One of my favorite new things, and I was so bummed to see they're not restocking until April 4, is this. This is the new Beauty Pie Wrap Star Tubing Mascara. It's what I'm wearing today. Oh my goodness, I love this mascara. I have liked every mascara I have tried. I tried the Uber Boost, I tried the False Lash. Like, I feel like they're all really good, but this one takes the cake because she's a tubing mascara. And I feel like having like bristles like this that are uneven, and it really helps to make sure I'm not getting any clumps on my lashes. The other thing I like about this, not all formulas will build volume. Sometimes I'll get length only from a tubing mascara. Sometimes the wand deposits too much product and I get like a chunk here, a chunk here, and a chunk here. This one is a beautiful. Love this. This actually also encapsulates my lashes in tubes, and when I get water at the end of the day and start to wet my eyelashes, they do come off in actual tubes. There are some tubing formulas that don't really tube. They do come off with warm water, but they come off more in chunks. And I like being able to wet my whole eye and then gently press my eyelashes together with my fingers and just slide the mascara off, and that's it. That's what, I think that's the best part about a tubing mascara. This one does it. This one's really good. I bought this the same time I bought this. Love this. This is the Wonder Gloss Collagen Lip Oil. This is more of a lip gloss, and this is the shade Cheerio. So this is a new to me shade. I've loved this formula since I tried it for the first time in 2020, and it's my most repurchased gloss formula. I have so many of these. I have another one someplace else, but these two are almost out. I have this and I have another one running around someplace else, but I'll just tell you, this formula is the best because it is nourishing. It is shiny, but it doesn't string. It's not heavy. It has a little bit of tack to it, but it isn't super sticky. And the reason I say it has some tack, because if it's like more like a lip oil, oil's gonna sit on my lips and find all of those fine lines, especially if it's tinted, and start to feather out. This doesn't really go anywhere. I really like this formula for that reason alone. And I had never picked up Cheerio. You think I would because I love a red. I love this shade. This is Jammy and this is Cheerio, but they don't make this shade anymore, and I'm really sad. So I'm gonna like scrape every last little bit out of this one. This was a new to me shade, really love. If you haven't tried the Beauty Pie Wonder Gloss Collagen Lip Oil, totally worth it. Okay, the last thing I got was this, and this is one of their super cheap cream blushes. This is the shade Blazed Apple. It's what I'm wearing today here. I do have a little bit of it over my lip with the Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lip Plump. Okay, have been loving this. This is so good. And this is not my first one of these that I've had, but I really liked this kind of bright orangey shade. I like wearing it on my lips like this, but I also like when I'm wearing it as blush, when it's really soft and pretty, more like this. It is stunning. This formula is so good. I think these are what, $12 or $14? This is one of my favorite cream formulas. Really love this. I have the one in French Raspberry, which is the deepest. I just ordered a new one, which is the bright red one. Can't wait. And I used to have the one in Sexy Berry until my mom fell in love with it and she took it with her when she was visiting one time. But this is such a good product. If you haven't tried this Super Cheat Cream Blush, it's totally, totally worth it. Let's talk about the drugstore stuff I have been loving. This is one of them. This really surprised me. This is the LA Girl Ultimate Eye Intense Stay Auto Liner. This eyeliner is $5. It's like $4.99, and it makes the most beautiful lines. Now, if you sharpen it, I do have a few little teeny tiny liners, sharpeners that will work for something like this. You can get thinner lines, but my favorite way to use this is in my upper waterline. When I do that, and it dries and it completely sets, I can blink my eyes and I don't get any transfer to the lower. That's what I've been looking for. I've been trying high-end, I've been trying affordable, I've been trying all sorts of stuff. This one does it. Now, I'll tell you, I'll put it in and I'll blink, and in the first 5 minutes of application, I will get transfer. I'll wait for it to fully set, then I'll take a Q-tip like this and wipe out my lower waterline, and I don't have any more transfer for the rest of the day. This is amazing. And it's so affordable. This is also great if you like a kind of gel pencil liner for your upper lash line. Here's where I tell you, I was recently at the drugstore with a bunch of girlfriends and their daughters. Their daughters were looking for makeup. They didn't know what to wear. I was making suggestions, and everyone, I said, this is the eyeliner you want. Because first of all, she's affordable. And beyond that, like, it stays. I really, really, really like that. Nice thing about this though is once it's dry, it doesn't really go anywhere. I can sit here and tug on it and it's not going anywhere. That's what I need for my eyeliner, and this really delivers. Something that I wanted to love but just didn't really do it for me is this. This is the e.l.f. Lip Lacquer. This is the shade Black Cherry. So the way that it was laying down, you can see there's a pretty big air gap here. That's because I used it. I used it quite a lot. This is very similar in shade. It's a little bit darker, a little bit richer to their Lip Slicks in Black Cherry. So this is what it looks like. It is shiny. I'll just tell you, it doesn't feel good on the lips. It doesn't feel bad on the lips, but within like an hour, the gloss is gone. It doesn't have the ability to kind of hang in there. I picked this up because I love the Lip Slicks in Black Cherry so much. I feel like if you like this color, this is a good dupe for the Almost Lipstick in Black Honey. I feel like this is really close, but this is kind of like inspired by it. I feel like the formula doesn't really work for me. First of all, I love how sheer this is. And if any of it ends up not perfectly in my lip line, you really can't tell. This one, okay, you see how shiny it is? It does find all of those nooks and crannies and kind of spiders out. So on my more mature lips, my 48-year-old lips, this does me no favors. I have to constantly be like checking it. Do I have like little lines around here, around the edges? I don't want to do that. I don't have time for that. I want something that's going to stay where I put it. And the other thing is, it's not hydrating. Okay, so it doesn't dry my lips out, but it doesn't add any added moisture to my lips. And at the end of the day, it's too much high maintenance to make sure this color doesn't go where I don't need it, that this got decluttered. Like I did a lip gloss declutter recently and I had to pull this out of the declutter box to show you. That's what I think about it. So I don't recommend it. It's only $3. If you have younger lips or that's your favorite color and you're willing to babysit it, maybe it's not going to be an issue for you, but no. It's not worth it for me. What is good from the drugstore are these. These are the Wet n Wild Rose Comforting Lip Colors. Let me swatch them for you. This is Cherry Syrup, this is Taffy Daddy, and this is Pecan Glaze. I feel like the colors are really pretty. They're very wearable. You can sheer them out even more if you don't want them to be kind of like this pigmented. You can see how down here I've pulled them out a little bit. They look good when you like do one swipe on the bottom and smush your lips together, or if you like go over both your upper and your lower lip. They're just really pretty. Now I will tell you, they do have that sort of packaging where Once you click it up, you cannot roll it down. So you have to be careful you don't advance too much. The other thing I don't like is this clear plastic cap, because if you ever get any of this on the inside, you'll see like streaks of it all up, and it just, it looks gross. The other thing I don't like is that the closure here is not like really good, because I have found these in my handbag, like where the lid is in one place and the actual lipstick is in another. Just keep that in mind. But I'll tell you, I feel like I'm willing to carefully put these in a pocket or in a bag that I zip up so they're not running around the bottom of my purse unattended. And I am willing to be careful that I don't advance too much, because they're just so pretty. And if you've been liking that glossy lipstick slash lip gloss combo, I know there's the one from Makeup by Mario. I know that there's one from Fenty. There's the Tarte Maracuja. Like, they're very similar in formula and that feel. The About Face one that's $15. They're glossy, they're lip glossy, but still lipstick like. These are $5.50 and they have beautiful colors. I would definitely recommend these, but just be aware the packaging is cheap packaging, but they're really good. I picked up this eyeliner from Milani. This is the Stay Put eyeliner, because I wanted something that's gonna do what this does. This is the one from LA Girl that stays in my upper waterline and doesn't transfer when I blink. This one transfers when I blink, and I get a whole bunch of it in my lower waterline. Now, if you're looking for a really great gel pencil just for like above the lashes or shoved into the lashes to blank out those skin tone gaps between your lashes, this is great, because when this dries, this doesn't budge. But I can't ever get it to stay in my upper waterline and not transfer to the lower. That's always what I'm hoping my eyeliner won't do. And for the longest time, I quit wearing stuff in my upper waterline. But I like that look of making my lashes as long as possible. And if I blank out my upper waterline, it makes my lashes just look that much longer and fuller. So this is a good liner, but I can't use it in my waterline unless I want to do both upper and lower. Then I'm sure it'd be great, but that's not how I wear eyeliner. This is a great above the lash and very affordable, and it's a really black. It's so good. Another one of those that once it sets, it doesn't go anywhere. This is a great eyeliner, just not for the waterline. I'm not wearing it today, but I really like this mascara. Now, I know there was a whole, influencer TikTok situation where should we even be talking about it? But it's actually a really good product. I have really been liking it. I am not usually a fan of these kind of silicone and kind of more spiky bristles. What's great about this is that this has like two different sides, like the front and the back, and those kind of more flat edges pick up a lot of product. And so what I do is I use those sides directly against my lashes to put the product on. And then I'll turn it so the bristles are facing my lashes, and these smaller bristles here are really good at combing out any potential clumps. I feel like it's really, really good for that. And I'll put on, a couple of coats over here. I guess not really coats, but I'll put on a really good thick layer over here. I'll move to the other side. And before this is fully done, and I've got some distributed over here, I'll come back and make sure that I'm lifting those lashes, that I'm coating every single part of it, and I'm building both length and volume. That's the one thing is I find that either a mascara is really good at length or it's really good at volume, and I want it to do both. And then I'm able to go to the other side, finish up, and I feel like this even wears well on my lower lash line. This is not one that I have trusted on a work day. My work situation is different than most people, but I love this when I'm not working. It's so good. It's so dramatic. It's very black. I really like it. I do take a little bit of, the packaging says it's washable, like it's supposed to come off with soap and water. Oh, what type of soap are you using? I feel like this definitely needs a balm cleanser to break it up. I end up using balm cleanser straight to my lashes, and I really sit there and massage for a while, splash with warm water to emulsify the cleanser, and I continue to break it up. And then I go in with a muslin cloth, and then I go in with a foaming cleanser. So I'm using 2 cleansers and a face cloth, and that's what really can get this off for me. Otherwise, I'm there like all day, like getting all the residue off with Q-tip after Q-tip after Q-tip, and I don't have time for that. So I don't know that this is as washable as the packaging says, but I feel like it's worth it because the look that you can get with this, it's really good. Let's talk about the non-beauty things I've been loving this month. I fell in love with a new TV show. It's Marie Antoinette, and it's on PBS. It is a historical drama, and it is so well done. I feel like sometimes what can really let a historical drama down is bad writing bad history or like where there's not enough attention to detail. And I feel like this has all of it. It deals with the political aspects of the marriage between Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette. It talks about a lot of the social aspects, the things that were kind of keeping them apart when they first got together. And then beyond that, it's shot at Versailles. It has beautiful costuming. It looks so beautiful and so real. Love, love, love. I think it's beautifully done. And I definitely recommend it if you like historical dramas. And I did read a book that I had never read before, and I'm surprised I hadn't because I read a ton of classics as a kid. It was like the only thing my mom would let me read. She didn't want me reading any like Sweet Valley High or Babysitter's Club or any of that. So I was reading like full on classics, and I came across one by Elizabeth Gaskell that I had never read before. It's called North and South, and it was one where Charles Dickens was like, I love the way you write. Would you please write a serial that I can publish in my newspaper? He had his own newspaper, and she would write, and he would publish a portion of this story every single time. At the end, of course, they put it into a book, but it was basically something to keep people coming back to the newspaper. What happens in the story next? What happens in the story next? And it's really, really interesting because it has to deal with people who are, very snobby about, are you in trade? Or are you a gentleman? Or, like all of this class elitism. It's very, very interesting, but it happens during the Industrial Revolution in England, and it's such an interesting story. I listened to it on Audible, and here's where I'll tell you, if you have Audible, it's one of their free downloads. It's just one of the books they have available, and it's so well done, and the person who narrates it is fantastic, but I really, really, really enjoyed it, and I'm surprised I hadn't read it before. My last favorite for the month of March is you. Thank you so much for supporting my channel, for your comments, for watching, for sharing it with friends. I really appreciate that. Because of your support over the last several years, my channel has continued to grow. I'm so excited. But the other thing that's great is that I'm finally at that point where I can use an affiliate program and include links in my description bar. So if you want to know, hey, what is that foundation you were talking about? Most items will be linked in the description box down below. And if you click those links and you make a purchase through one of those, it does help to support my channel. So thank you. Thank you so much for your support up to this point, and your continued support in the future. Hey, I hope you had a great March, and I hope April is like exactly what you hope for. I'm ready for more sunshine. I'm ready for warmer weather. I'm ready to start putting away my sweaters and my coats. I'm not quite there yet, but we're getting close. Let me know what your favorites were for this month. Makeup items, TV shows or movies, books that you've been reading, your favorite coffee drink, whatever it is that you have been loving and like can't stop, let me know in the description box down below. Thank you so much for watching. Have an incredible day, and I'll see you again soon.